mortgage rates, a lot of people are concerned about the Fed and changes and all those types of things. Mortgage rates still holding pretty, still below 4.
Mortgage rates are still hovering in a very, very good rate. I mean, when you say below 4, what that really means is in a perfect scenario, yes, it's going to be below 4. There are, differing scenarios, if you're putting down less, depending on your credit score and everything. But what everybody's got up in arms about is the Fed meeting, which is going to be the 15th and 16th, I believe, of this month.
And then after that, we'll have a little bit more clarity based on, and it's funny, you always have, I almost think there could be like a sports gambling, not a sports book, it's not a sports book, but a gambling line on what words they say that trigger people's belief that rates are going to rise. Because, people always interpret like there'll be 2 words that, it says, alternatively, or, there's always some sort of, conspiracy theory about what they say in that meeting as to how it's going to impact.
Yeah, they're pretty much banking at this point on the fact that they're going to raise the Fed funds rate, which, for the listeners listening, that does not mean that rates automatically increase by that specific amount for mortgage rates. That basically affects your prime rate, your things like that. But first mortgage rates, they are affected by the news and by the talk, but not in a direct one-for-one. So it's definitely going to have an effect, but it's not the exact, if they raise it a quarter, mortgage rates are going to raise a quarter. Mortgage rates could raise a quarter before that, or they could go down. So just, that's not the reason to jump off the seat. But it's just something that, the markets are, kind of stabilizing in a way. There's probably going to be our only rate hike, I would think, probably till mid-2016. But, that's definitely what we're all expecting.
Yeah, I think most people are expecting it. And again, another point of consideration for buyers that are sitting on the fence and sellers that are sitting on the fence, because obviously rates go up, it hurts buying power. And hurting the buying power doesn't just hurt the buyer, it hurts the seller too, because now somebody that was saying, I probably could afford 200, now they're 180. Those subtle changes in rate can impact the market. Another reason why not waiting makes sense for both buyers and sellers. Don't wait, because waiting almost never in a market where prices are rising and interest rates are rising is waiting going to come to your favor.
The market has a lot more room. Interest rates have a lot more room to get worse than they do to get better. So if you're waiting for an interest rate to go back down to 3.5%, or to be at this ridiculous level, I mean, that's unlikely at best.
Right.
So.
Well, and I'll tell you, I think that the other side of the waiting game is so prices go up, right, and then interest rates go up, and then uncertainty happens, and then you'll have buyers that just end up not buying, right? They just say, you know what, this is just not sustainable, and then the market misses people, and it's not as if we want everybody to be a homeowner. I think you've always got this battle, between the sides of the political fence about wanting people to be homeowners and then saying, you should only have a certain number of homeowners, but ultimately, I also think that sometimes, just subtle choices people make cause them to not become a homeowner, when in reality they could have been and saved a bunch of money. And it isn't necessarily the political side of things; it's more the just making a choice as to rates and prices and all this stuff align. I should buy instead of waiting. And if they wait, what if they lost their job? What if something happened and then they miss the opportunity?
Right. The home buying is not for everybody. I mean, that's one of the reasons I love being on the show. We can talk about it from both sides. We're not trying to push everybody into a house. I mean, for some people, renting is the better option, depending on your goals and vision for the short term and the long term.
Well, I think you look at investors too. Investors have to have a place in the market. There's got to be rental property. There has to be options for that audience. And so in the sense that not everyone becomes a homeowner, every home has to be owned by someone. Someone is going to own, whether it's a corporation, whether it's a company, whether it's the county, whether it's a person, somebody's going to own it.
And we all have to have a place to live.
Right.
So that's why typically, financially speaking, it probably makes sense to own a home, but not for everybody. And it depends on, do you see yourself being here for the next couple of years? What is your job situation? Like, I'm not in the market of trying to max out everybody to the last penny so they can qualify for the biggest house in the world. That's not my goal here.
Well, and I think both of our companies, one of the reasons why we have a radio show and we have the reputation we have is, you can look at our reviews, you can see all the great 5-star reviews and testimonials. We're not going to force someone into do something that they shouldn't do or that's a bad decision, no matter the benefit to us or not. Which is why we tell people sometimes, wait, don't buy, don't sell. You need to do some things with your credit. You got to do this. We want to put them in a position for success, because I can tell you nothing's worse than having somebody, and unfortunately this happened over a few year period. You'd help somebody buy a home, and a few years later they're doing a short sale, and you cringe,
Yeah.
even though you had no idea they were going to lose their job and the economy was going to do what it was going to do. You don't want to intentionally put someone down that path.
No, I mean, and it's just everyone has a little bit different. I mean, when somebody says when something is all encompassing for everybody, it's probably the wrong advice.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,